Welcome to M3Live. I'm your host, Joe Beck, CEO of M3Linked, and I am super excited about today's session. So with me in the studio is our very special guest, Preston Weekes. I'm going to do a quick intro for Preston, and then we're going to ask him a few questions about his business. His focus is to build people and companies, starting with one $1,600 car. He reinvested in himself and wrote his own rags to riches story, eventually owning and co-owning 15 car dealerships and multiple vertical businesses, grossing over $60 million in annual sales. He was the #1 independent car buyer in the Intermountain West. He became the chief operations officer of a renewable energy startup, which he led to a successful exit in 2019. He has ownership in 2 publishing companies and serves on the boards of 21 multiple companies. He now owns, of multiple companies. He now owns 21 websites that support business and mental growth. He consults with celebrities, athletes, organizations, and business owners about automation and AI. He just launched the next big book brand, and we're going to be talking all about that today. Please welcome to the stage the founder of 10-Step Books, Preston Weekes. Good morning, Preston. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm amazing. Thank you, Joe. It's so great to be here with you today. I appreciate it.
Well, we are privileged to have you with us, Preston. So I'm going to jump in and start with the most important question. Please tell us about 10-Step Books. Tell us what 10 Steps book is all about.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for asking. Well, actually, my background started in books actually with my family. And so my mom actually ended up marrying the #1 author in the world, Mark Victor Hansen. And so I met Mark back in the day. Mark wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul books, Aladdin Factor, 1 Minute Millionaire. He sold over 500 million books. He has 59 #1 New York Times bestsellers. And I was running a car business. I used to own 15 car dealerships. I had a company called Car Finder. And I went and found cars for high-end clients. And Mark was actually one of my clients. And so I met him in my company Car Finder, and I was buying all his cars. And he ended up, long story, marrying my mom. And I actually got to work with Mark. I ended up leaving the car industry, and I started to work with Mark. But I started to learn a lot about the publishing and the book industry. And we actually launched a master author training course in the beginning of COVID, which really, launched me into the book business. And I learned from Mark, there's a reason why Mark sold over 500 million books, right? There's a secret to the sauce, and there's a secret to the story. And so I learned from him, I mentored from him, I worked side by side by him, and he taught me all these different things. And through that, I put the pieces that actually work to make money and create success for the author's life. And I put that into a package and now launched the brand 10-Step Books. And it's my vision to make 10-Step Books the next big brand, like Chicken Soup for the Soul or the Dummies book or Cliff Notes, or all these huge brands where you have hundreds of books in the series. And so what I'm doing is taking experts' solutions and we're publishing them in 10 simple steps. And so it's a simple how-to book, but it's not just a book. So we don't stop at the book. And that's part of what I learned from Mark, and part of what I learned that really creates success is if you tie the book into a business and you have a comprehensive approach, right? A comprehensive approach is what actually creates success in the book, and it creates success for the author. And so if you can tie your book into the vision, tie it into the end, tie it into a business, right, that actually makes the money, then the book becomes a foundation for every single thing that they're doing in the company. So we do a book, and that's the starting point, right? We don't end there. We actually level up, and we have 2 revenue streams. So we build a training program, a digital training course that goes along with the book so that our expert authors have multiple revenue streams. Then 10-Step Books hosts events that are based on the topic that the expert is amazing at. And so we take, they come and they show up and they speak. So we put on the event, we host the event, we market the event. They can co-market the event, but they come up, show up, and they just speak. So they get new leads for their book, their course, and their business. And so it's a comprehensive approach. And then on top of that, we partner with all of our authors so they actually own their solution. So I have 6 books in publication right now, and that each author, like we're doing one on luxury vacation homes. The guy's an expert on doing luxury vacation rentals. It's so much fun to learn all these secrets from these experts, right? Too, because I'm learning myself when I get to go through and publish it. Now I'm looking at vacation rental homes out there. I'm like, oh man, I should buy one. That one looks cool. That one fits in the deal. But he's making $30,000, over $30,000 a month per property, right? On his luxury vacation rentals. And we're putting these secret formulas into the book and expanding it. So we're doing all these cool things. But so then that author owns that category. So if, say, 10 years down the road, he's like, well, I'm looking at retiring. I don't want to be, the vacation luxury expert anymore. I want to pass the torch to someone new. And maybe the industry's evolved, right? Maybe it's changed too, because sometimes things change. So we actually, if we sell it out to a new expert, we buy the category back from the person. So they get all of their initial investment back. Plus we split the profits with them. So if we're selling them for, 5X in 10 years down the road because of inflation and value increase, they get half of that money. So it really creates 5 value pillars to have authors supported by a book, a training program, events, be backed by a brand, and have equity in everything they're doing. So it's
wow,
the first comprehensive approach to publishing that I've seen out there. I haven't seen any other publisher doing anything like this, because most people are just out there write a book by themselves.
That sounds amazing. Now let me ask you this, and I'm gonna play the role of somebody from the outside looking in. If I've never written a book before, how will this make the process easier for me? Right. Yeah. And obviously the credibility is there, with your background. It's kind of like a family business, right? With understanding of the industry. But if I'm a new author, how will this be the ideal source for me to choose?
No, that's a great question. So our 10-step books are written in a similar formula. So we have a formula that's interesting and engaging, but simple to follow. And so it's actually done all through an interview process. So the expert doesn't have to write anything. They're the expert of the book. Wow. And we go through a series of interviews where we extrapolate their story, their why, the industry problems, things that people need to look out for, and then the steps and the pieces that they need to learn. And so we do that all through an interview. We transcribe all the interviews, and I have a writing team of 36 people, and we pick the best writer that's suited for that topic, and we align you with a writer, and we work through, and we do all the heavy lifting for you. So all you do is show up to a couple of meetings, in a few hours of work, in a few hours of interviews, you have an entire book published, you have an entire training program done, and it's super simple because like the authors that I'm working with, they're busy people. They're running their successful business. They don't have a lot of time, right, to write this stuff. And so that's what makes it so easy for everyone to go through.
Oh, that's phenomenal. I think being an expert is one thing, but then trying to figure out how do I figure out all these other things is the biggest hurdle. And it sounds like with 10-step books, you guys have cracked that code and made it easy for them by following this format. And obviously, what works in the industry, and that's really a super exciting model, really. Now, Preston, you and I met through M3Linked, and for those that don't know, M3Linked is the nation's premier entrepreneur collaboration community. Preston, tell me a little bit about your experience in M3Linked. You've been around a while. You've seen a lot of M3. Tell us a little bit about your experience.
Yeah, no, I love it. I've been involved in M3 since Genesis, since the beginning, since since it started up, and I absolutely love M3. And I'll tell you a couple reasons why. One, we can't do this alone, right? We can't do this alone. So you have to have a community of people around you. You have to have a community of resources, and you have to have a community of connections. And why I like M3 is because it's based off of relationships. It's not a transactional group, it's a relationship group. And for me, being in that community for multiple years now, I have very deep relationships with most of the members. Now I'm getting to know the new members that come in all the time, which is great. But I have real deep bonding relationships with a majority of the members because of the way that you run the group. And it's so great. We actually get to know each other and we get to authentically connect. But through that, I've done so much business with the members in the group. And on top of that, there's a couple different value propositions that you get from a group. Most people go into a group thinking, oh, I want to sell my product, or I want to get, something done. And that's not the best approach because that's shallow and it's short term. And if you invest in a group like this with your time and your charisma and your talent, and you do it on a long-term vision, a relationship side, kind of like I was talking about, you really get these long-term relationships where now the people inside the group, I feel like I have a whole team of people that are people that'll help me to help my clients, right? They do other things that are different than I do, but I can work with them together to fulfill solutions for my clients too. So now we're collaborating, and not only am I doing business with the people in the group, but we're doing collaborations. And I basically have a full team of staff, that I can reach out to that I don't have to employ, because I can drop into an M3 meeting, pick up one of the experts I'm friends with, and they can help me to go do a project with the client and deliver. And so that's the second part. Third part is building real relationships expands the reach. So let's say you have 30 people in a room in a meeting. Well, if you are focused on selling to those people, you have 30 clients. If you're focused on building a relationship, you have 3,000 clients, because they all have 100 people that they know that could potentially use your service. And so if you build a really strong relationship with those people, and then you can reach out to their network and really, really multiply your business. And that's the power of these communities. I think that's the real power of these communities that I've seen.
Very well said. Very well said. I think the number one question that I get asked about when it relates to M3Linked is, what are the types of people that I might meet there? What are the caliber of the people? What types of people? What industry? And my answer is always, you could meet anybody in an M3 forum, but they're all people that really understand the power of relationships. They are all people that want to prioritize relationships. And I'm reminded of reinforcing for everybody. And you said it right at the beginning, Preston. It's so true. Entrepreneurship was never designed to be a solo activity. Like you need to get other people involved. You need to engage other people. You never know where your next collaboration or opportunity might come from. And the strength of those relationships really is the secret sauce, to be able to connect with people, all kinds of different experts, resources. I find it to be very sometimes therapeutic when things aren't going the way that you would like. You get into an M3 meeting and it's kind of hard not to be energized and excited about what you're working on. So, well, Preston, this has been great. One final question. How can people connect with you and 10-Step Books? How can they connect with you?
Yeah. So if you're an expert out there and you have a solution, and that means a solution that you've been through yourself, or you've led other people through a process that we can help other people by learning what you know, go to 10stepbooks.com. Spell it any way you want. I own all domains. 10stepbooks.com and fill out an author application. I'd love to meet you. I'd love to get to know your solution and everything that you have for the world to offer. And we'll see if we can make some synergy where we can expand what you're doing and take it to the next level.
That's great. Thank you so much, Preston. I want to just thank all of you for joining us today. Our special guest today was Preston Weekes, founder of 10 Step Books. And this has been M3 Live. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome. See you soon.